It's another great morning in Australia. We're actually in Paris, but good morning to those waking up in Australia to yet another gold medal, Pezza. It's 14 gold medals, 9 of those coming in from Queensland, Pezza.
Wow.
9 from Queensland. Queensland are coming 9th in the medal tally.
So we're doing this like Great Britain, are we?
Yeah, I don't want to get into the per capita stuff, but I just want to give some love to Queensland because, you know, they are so unders in other areas of, providing athletes, but not our Olympians. My God, they are good at producing Olympians for us. So thank you, Queensland. Thanks for the memories. Thanks for the athletes. And thanks to Gina Reinhardt, who put a medal party on the Seine on a boat. Exclusive party we were invited to. But, Queensland, 9 gold medals, and yet another one coming from the Gold Coast this time, Pezza. A 14-year-old skateboarder, no less. This show is brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. Use the code FAST for 25% off your order at smithopticsaustralia.com. Pezza, gold skateboarding. Did you know that you needed it when you woke up this morning?
No, not specifically. I did know that I needed another gold under my pillow.
Yep.
When I wake up.
Yep.
That's essentially become the marker of success now for Australians over the Olympics, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. When I wake up and I rub my eyes and I get the sleep out of it, it's like, have I woken up to gold? If I have, then the nation's on track. If I haven't, Donald Robert Argus. Very simple.
Yeah.
At this point. So Arisa Trew, 14-year-old skateboarder.
Huge if.
From Queensland, takes our tally to 14, our second ever skateboard medal, our youngest ever gold medal. Yep. Here goes. Shall we hear what the fans had to say?
We must. We must
overnight.
Hear. We must hear.
And thank you for the record number of speak pipes overnight, many of which couldn't be used. Clear. But,
I'm sure that is true.
But thank you anyway for the contributions. Here we go.
Did anyone else really have a fucking hope against a 14-year-old Aussie kid dripped in Asics on a skate park? Fuck's sake, boys. Up the gold.
Yeah.
So here's the rest of the world thinking, swimming's over, put a fork in the Aussies, they're done.
Yeah.
Bloody fools. We don't even need water. Bloody 14-year-old champion has a look at an empty pool in the skateboard park, and next thing you know, another lump of gold under my pillow this morning. Little beauty.
Gold, 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 gold. Too good to be true.
Hey, mate, you look tired. Oh, yeah, I was up all night watching a 14-year-old in a park. And I also watched skateboarding. Hey, oh.
Get her the duck. Get her the duck.
Boys, another morning, another Australian gold medal. Arisa Trew, what a legend. Australian skateboarding doesn't need an Argus review, but possibly needs some hard drive reviews.
14-year-old boys of the nation. Any danger? Recipe for Aussie gold, pretty simple. Put wheels on it or chuck it in the drink.
Hey babe, I got an early start in the morning and the boomer's already up by 24, so I'm just going to go to bed.
First quarter. Australia up by 24. Paddy Mills, 5-time Australian Olympian. GOAT. Josh Giddey, slob wizard. Up 24 points. Safety.
Sounds good.
Overtime. Serbia win by 5. Heartbreak. Bosnia.
Yeah. I've never felt so many highs and so many lows in one game. How did the Boomers lose that?
5 Serbians dominate slob wizard. That's not going to look good on the search history, is it?
The Boomers get a go at the rapid charge, don't they?
God, it must be nice to live in a country where masculine men are successful and winning.
Serbia.
I'm off to have an almond milk latte and listen to a bit of Joe Rogan now.
Cause I made it. Oh, I made it. Ooh, I made it. Yeah, I made it. Cause I made it.
Lucky you're no Amy.
Very good. Fine contributions.
The mood of the nation.
Fine contributions.
The mood of the nation. Here goes.
Well, Pezza, Arisa, huge if true, has become Australia's youngest gold medalist, passing, of course, Sandra Morgan, who was the previous youngest, who was in the swimming relay with Dawn Fraser in 56.
Okay.
As we all remember. Now, this was the Women's Skateboard Park Final. Now, women would suggest to you that these are grown adults, and you'd be wrong hugely. These are literal children performing death-defying acts on a skateboard. There was a Finnish girl that was 13. The preliminaries also featured the youngest athlete of these games, China's Zheng Hao, I think, who is just 11 years old. 11 years old competing in this. The other Aussie, Ruby Trew, who is 15, 1 year older than Arisa. No relation.
No relation.
No relation. Same spelling of Trew, T-R-E-W.
Yes.
1 year older.
Both skateboarders.
Both skateboarders. No relation.
Yeah. You guys relate? No. Just nothing.
I mean, Argus is busy, but I will need some more time investigating.
Ancestry.com.
That's more of an ancestry thing. I think there was an American that was 20. I think there was a Brazilian skater that was like in the early 20s maybe. But
okay.
But that's weird in itself. Like if you're a 23-year-old and you're competing against an 11-year-old, like you'd be a bit off about that, wouldn't you?
It's crying out for boys actually at gmail.com. Like, why is this Olympic event populated almost entirely by children?
Yeah.
Is it a fact of like the physique better being able to like execute some of these moves, or do like children grow out of this and move on to other pursuits in life?
Well, because people say that if you haven't skydived by 30, you never will. That's because like a sensibility gene kicks in. Like,
yes.
And so maybe like if you're 21, maybe you have to go to TAFE, and get a job.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Like that, it makes no sense because some of these acts that they're doing like a 540, 360s.
Arisa is the first to land a 720, then a 900 in competition overnight, which is what we were all looking for.
That's right.
She got the 720 in her, and could she push it to a 900? Look, he goes, it's the youngest gold in Australian Olympic history, and that's the narrative. We've been talking about gold narratives. That's the narrative out of this. It's the youngest gold available, but it's also a nervous weight gold as well. Now, we've seen a few of them with Fox, Jess Fox especially.
Yes.
And Arisa Trew had to wait for a couple of boarders to finish off. She was first in sixth position, then she was in third position, and then she just pulls out an unbelievable run, 93 or some shit.
Yes.
And so it's a sort of secretly hoping for others' failure gold. Now, I know we all do that in life. We do that in corporate life. We do that in organisational life.
Yep.
Sometimes in extended family life, right? And of course, in any sporting pursuit, others' failure, generally speaking, assists you. But
I could watch someone do a reverse park and hope they fuck it up.
Exactly.
And it doesn't involve me in any way.
A way of life.
Yeah.
Right? And it's toxic and it's bad and it lands you in therapy. Right? And that's not therapy, Shane. Let's get into that. Let's actually do that. I believe we have a sponsor coming shortly. But so there was some sort of sub-narratives to this gold. But I guess he goes like, it's also a morning for precise language.
Yeah, it is.
For people.
Yeah.
And I did note that on the speak pipes, like most blokes just happy to stick with boomers material and just steering well clear of commending a 14-year-old success.
Even admitting that you watched it is just like, oh, did you watch that? Did you?
Anything you say.
Yeah.
Eddie Maguire's interviewing Arisa going like, so you're not in the Olympic Village? He's like, why do you care, Eddie?
Yeah. Why do you care where I sleep?
Why are you asking me about my sleeping quarters? He's just like, oh, Arisa Trew, unbelievable run. Oh, exactly. Oh, what'd you like about it?
Mate,
That's interesting.
What is, okay, first of all, like the skills of these, even calling them athletes, is the skills of these year 7 students are unbelievable. And that's coming from someone with zero ball knowledge, apart from, Tony Hawk's pro skater on PS2 2001.
Well. Did you catch that?
I did catch his quotes. He said, well, she absolutely deserved it. This is Tony Hawk. She's leading the way of what's possible in skateboarding and in women's skateboarding. And we're just lucky to have her. That run right there could have won any event.
Oh, very interesting, Tony.
Yeah. Oh, so you watched it, did you, Tony Hawk? Yeah. Wow.
He was there.
Wow.
Oh, you were there, were you? Why?
You sicko.
Why were you there? People there should just be parents. That's it. Not even coaches.
And you were watching, were you? And quite closely, it seems.
But the thing is, he goes like, when as you age, which is something we do, we all do.
And a privilege.
You start to, because time is relative, it speeds up. You start to notice young adults like in their early 20s and stuff achieving feats you never did, and we marvel at those feats from young adults, and you think, oh, what was I doing when I was 22? Now a lot of the media this morning are writing or saying, haha, what were you doing at 14 rhetorically? But no one's actually answering that question. No, honestly, what were you doing at 14? And I know there actually was skateboarding culture when I was 14, 98, 99. I was wearing, cargo shorts, keppers.
SMP belts.
Your Vans Warped Tour.
Yes.
Globes. You've got your Pennywise playing, Area 7, Blink-182.
Some 41s.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies. That's all good. I never did more than a sort of a tech deck with my fingers. But the truth is that, what are we doing at 14? I mean, we're in the throes of hormones, we're discovering cigarettes and acne treatment.
Yes.
And, and we're exploring masturbation and dial-up pornography. Yeah. That's the truth. And that's why that question doesn't get answered in the media.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
In 1998.
Because there was a census in 98.
There was a lot of dial-up stuff.
Which is, so the media actually can't answer that rhetorical question for kind of
what were you doing? I don't want to tell
reasons.
You. Who are you? Why are you asking me these questions?
Yeah, that's right. Just look at the census.
I'm just trying to parallel park.
Dial-up porn, acne treatment. Do I go on Roaccutane? What does it do to me? It clears it up, but fuck me, the mood's all over the place.
And it dries my anus. Mate, some of the commentary from it was Mitchell and Nick. I don't know the last names.
You don't need to.
And that is my right. And you know what? Knowing the last names would not be cool either. But these guys are just two Aussie fucking grommets. Now, I know grommet's a surfing term, but these, it's also the same thing.
When you're from Sydney's North Shore, it's all one and the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're in an empty swimming pool.
Basically, yeah. Fill it up in the drink. Get the girls in there. And some of that commentary was so good. It was so funny. And they were just
going off.
They were just losing their minds at this athlete just doing these sick tricks.
Yeah.
And her last, I think she'd already had a great run for the third run, Arisa. And then she pulls off like a reverse or some shit. And one of them is like, she's done a fakie. She's done a fakie. And it's like, oh, I'm fucking up for this.
Yeah.
I'm up for this.
Well, you needed that from the commentator because otherwise you're just another guy with Dorito chips caked all over your body, just going that's fine.
Yeah.
That's easy. I was like, no, that's a fakie, mate. And then, the fact that he was up and about for it, you're like, okay then. I guess that's
must
good.
Must be
Are we
good.
looking at gold? Is it under the pillow? Okay, she's 14 and I won't get too up and about it, but nevertheless, Nevertheless, I'm thinking about, I know we mentioned this the other day, but gold medal capital at school. I think if you achieve a gold medal, that's capital until you're in the grave or cremated or however you want to do it.
You've seen that footage of it's an Irish boxer going back to school and the whole school's lined up outside and claps him into an assembly. People might have seen that.
Right.
Similar thing. It's just like that kid who's probably 15 or 16 is just fucking king of the campus.
Well, what do you like? My understand. I just heard this once. I think on a message board.
Here we go.
I read it on a message board that Arisa Trew goes to a skateboarding school where they learn for a couple of hours and then get out on the boards.
Well, you know what? I like that. If it's on the Gold Coast.
If I wake up one morning and exhale with a gold under my pillow.
Here's what is good about this gold as well, Pezza, in that it's the youngest. Are we looking at a dynasty, at a dynasty?
Well, no, she's about to retire, given the way this event works.
Especially with her knees.
She's no spring chicken. Oh, wait, she is.
There's an 11-year-old Chinese girl coming up.
I can't describe a gold medalist as a spring chicken as a man. It's disgusting. But yeah, does she wear a gold? She's clearly wearing gold medals around at school. And what if you're just sitting in the third row of class? You're in geography, learning about savanna habitats. You're asked a question. You're just like, how many gold medals do you have?
Did you find the interviews slightly uncomfortable in that her answers is just you're just a baby. She was just talking in a way it was she really well spoken, and she's just won a gold medal. And there's probably all these things. There's cameras in front of her. There's loud noise. There's fucking thousands of people watching. There's millions watching back home. She's wearing a green and gold jacket. ASIC's famously associated with skateboarding, and she's giving answers like a child would.
Yeah, age appropriate.
Yeah. I like doing this. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. I think that there's two components to that interview that I thought when, because she's 14, she's asked to reflect on her emotions.
Yeah.
And to explain them in a way that, you know, as a viewer, you're accustomed to finding compelling, or like they're emotions that are usually set against or contextualized by your experience of life. But
well said.
She barely has any experience of life. So she's talking about what she enjoys about it. So she's being very authentic, but she has no adult experience through which to contrast it with, or there's barely the probably the cognitive ability or developmental ability to talk about highs or lows. Also, she's at school, so half the day she's on the board, so there's not, you know, I don't know if much English is going on, which is her want. But then, to be fair to her, when Eddie asked her to take everybody through the run that she did, she was much more comfortable and able to speak a lot more like clearly, coherently about each move and how she was feeling at that time. So the thing that she knows, skateboarding, she speaks like an expert, you know. But when it's like, tell us how this makes you feel, and to kind of put it in perspective, it's like, you know, bitch, I'm 14, you know, like. So I know what you mean.
I would like her to have just gone into like some year 8 pettiness, you know, like that bitch Steffi Thomas said I couldn't do it. She stole my boyfriend, you know, just like start throwing shade out. Anyway, hey, Keegan Palmer, Pezza, in the men's, that starts tonight. Yeah, KP's on tonight. He won gold in Tokyo, as we all remember. So now,
that's Australia's first skateboarding medal.
Might be in the women's. Anyway, so this is in relation to Australia having 14 gold medals. Their best ever haul originally was in Sydney in 2000 when they had 16 gold medals. And then in Athens, the next time out, they had 17, equaled in Tokyo last time, 17 gold medals. Australia currently 14 gold medals. Can we go best ever? 4 more gold is what we need. 3 to equal.
Feels it's going to be tough. Helpfully, Matty Wern was postponed due to some flat track.
Well, he's a good chance.
Yeah, well,
he's a good chance.
It's silver at worst, isn't it?
Now, should we talk about some other chances? Just moving on to the Aussie stuff. To other Aussie stuff.
Yeah, we're into the Aussies. We're in the grounds.
Should we talk about start with the cycling?
Of course, yeah.
So
in the drone.
So first of all, it's a hot track. It's a hot track.
Yeah,
it's a fast track.
I thought that.
Yeah. So world
Watching
records are happening. Because it's been hot in Paris, and the humidity inside the centre is actually creating a hotness, a firmness to the track.
It's like an altitude effect.
Exactly. Now, good news as well. Kiwis are good on the track. They've already picked up gold. Anzac stuff.
Okay,
Kiwi brethren.
add it in.
Yeah, add that
Drop
in. Definitely add that in. Yep.
Drop it in.
We're all together. Kiwis can have some of ours. We'll have some of theirs.
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
I think they're winning out of that.
Yeah, but Anzac spirit. We're all coming together. Kiwi brethren. Aussie brethren.
Okay. So, but we picked up a bronze?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we did.
So the sprint teams, that's Lee Hoffman, Matthew Richardson, Matthew Glaetzer.
Yes.
They pipped France as well. They pipped the home team for bronze. And France was ahead in the first 2 laps, but, mate, please. You got to conserve your carrot. You got to win it at the end.
So Australia's won fourth. They've come fourth every year since Sydney, I think it might have been.
Since Helsinki.
Yeah, since Helsinki. And Glaetzer, a 31-year-old, struggle street in the heats and the playoffs earlier on. It was
Foxing, not struggle street?
Well, it was just lagging a bit.
Yeah.
And he actually pulled it home, as you suggested.
Yeah.
And he said this, to be honest, it's a lot of relief. I've been chasing an Olympic medal my whole career, and it's taken 12 years. My first Olympics at 19 years old in London. Every single team sprint, we've come fourth, and it's been the monkey on the back that I just haven't been able to shake. We lost to France twice in the Olympic final as well for bronze. And when we're heading up against them again, I'm like, here we go. We really have to change it up. And change it up they did. Because they just switched the positions. So France fourth, Aussie third.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I think they changed the order of sprinting as well, as far as I understand.
Oh, did they?
So a bit of tactical stuff. I mean,
there's a bit of nous.
We use that phrase all the time, but having an actual monkey on your back would be quite uncomfortable if you're trying to.
And in terms of lag, it'd be an issue.
Well, if you're trying to get a medal for 12 years and there's a monkey on your back, that'd be tough. He goes,
that's the first issue.
What about the pursuit team? He goes, do you have this?
Yeah, well, they're racing for gold tonight.
Yeah, guaranteed at least silver, which is not how we like to describe things. I'm reading from The Guardian here, which is
Team GB
which is a
well.
UK publication,
yes.
so figures. But Sam Welsford, Kellen O'Brien, Games debutants here, Connor Lay and Oliver Bledden. He goes, they broke the world record
to
set up this
Not only
race.
they broke it, they smashed it by 2 seconds.
And this is the thing. here's the thing: on top of the hot track that you described, scientific rigor and beauty, to me, that world record ahead of this race, it sends a message.
That's a message Sam.
About Australian cycling.
We're the fastest it's ever been.
There's nothing. Look, to me, if it's a message sent goal, like if a shot's been fired from the Australian cycling team in the Drome on a hot track, that's exactly where I want us to be as a nation. So,
the only thing better than that, I would say, is if the other team had broken the world record in the semi-finals, and then you break their world record in the final. Well, that would be better. But
it'd be message received.
Messages being sent, received.
Sent and received.
Yeah,
communications two-way.
Now, I mentioned there before about the idea of 18 gold medals, something Australia's never touched before. Those heights have never been reached.
Yep.
Well, maybe that one, it would set us on our way. If we wake up tomorrow morning with that, plus
Matt
Richardson, Richo,
Wern,
we're racing the sprint and the Kieran.
Oh, we're in the cycling still, yeah.
And he's a big chance as well.
Okay.
Richo. Oh, yeah, but you're talking about in the drink.
So are we looking at? So we're looking at 2 cycling goals overnight.
Well, no, I'm not sure about the sprint and the Kieran being the finals, but for the team pursuit.
Yeah, team pursuit.
That's against Team GB.
Yeah.
That has to be a goal. They've just broken the world record.
Yeah.
If they don't win gold after breaking the world record, they can get the fucking
break
bin.
their own record.
Bin.
Yeah.
And then we've got Matty Weir in the drink there. If the win picks up in Marseille.
Okay, so it could be double.
And then we look at 16 golds. That seems like counting chickens, but that was the original name of the show.
Not for me. Yeah, we were deciding between Morning After Paris per capita or counting chickens.
All good options.
Olympics in the drink, week 1 only.
I've got to tell you, like, if you are watching some of the cycling, especially the sprint stuff, if you want to know what it looks like if a man was to ever have a baby, then you need to look at how the men's faces when they start out of the gate there, out of the blocks, because there is so much strain and power going through the body. They're like the contortions of the face and body is actually hilarious because like they're just trying to get into their RPMs as quick as possible, right? And they're straining out of the blocks, and it's like every sinew is being squeezed and juiced to the max.
I understand what you're saying, though. I think equating this commencement of a bike race with bearing a child to women who have done it may be like, oh, crow's feet, because I've been in a birth.
Yeah. And it is similar, isn't it?
And I think it's just a bit, it's just unders on the cycling. Anyone who's listening who's seen a birth, under or given, unless you've been to war, there's no greater carnage. It's carnage. Look at where my eyes are staring into the middle distance. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So So if the team pursuit boys aren't sort of evoking that kind of spirit, then that's where gold, goes wanting.
That's right.
Jake wrote in, he goes, just on boys actually. He says, boys actually physics nonce, brackets affectionately, brackets actually an engineer, but same thing. The slope of the velodrome means that the force allowing the bikes to turn is not just friction of the tyres. And then he just ends it there.
Perfect.
That's what an engineer would do.
Yeah.
Heavy on the physics side of things, less so on the communication.
If I was marking Jake's paper there, I'm giving him 100%.
So thanks for telling me what it's not.
Yeah.
It's a Carl Barron joke.
And then because what it does is it elicits more questions. And I don't have the opportunity to ask those questions.
How about I just tempt them with what it's not? It's not just the friction of the tyres, boys. Full stop.
Well, Jake, colour me interested.
Well, he's a genius. Let us know the next paragraph when you're ready, Jake.
and he'll say, don't worry about it.
Yeah, all good.
Side mouth, don't worry about it. I'm just letting you know.
I don't know about you, Hugo. Sorry, by the way.
Yes.
I've had a couple of mates. I don't know if people experience this when they're talking Olympics, as is one's want, as we do. As we've said from the start of the show, like the Olympics permits multiple identities for individuals beyond the narrow number of identities available to an Australian man and woman.
Are you talking about as someone that watches the Olympics?
Yeah, so just like during an Australian winter, you're either like, during the whole year in Australia, from a sporting perspective, generally speaking, you're either a solemn Aussie rules nonce.
Yes.
You're a gambling larrikin rugby league nonce. Or you're an autistic, statistics-driven cricket nonce.
Yes.
Right? But the Olympics permits other people to come through.
It does.
And I've spoken to a couple of people who, like, you can talk about the Olympics, like swimming, etc., but, like, when we get onto the cycling, people are like, oh, the boys are fast. The boys are looking fast. I'm like, are you trying to tell me that you're a corporate lycra-wearing, weekend warrior who loves getting out on the track, who loves clip-clopping in your little clogs there, getting your almond latte, etc. on a Saturday?
Middle-aged man in lycra.
Yeah, just saying it's just permitted that identity to come through. Do you enjoy riding, for charity, for juvenile diabetes or something like that, only to use that to build your little sad corporate empires, inside the building that no one cares about?
Yeah.
Just saying that person exists. I'm just sketching it out.
Because of these sports that are in the Olympics, the cycling probably is the one that most people partake in or have done.
So with running, for example, like you can because everybody runs, everyone's going to have a view on it.
Yes.
It's like commentary, and we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Everyone has a view on it because people know how to talk.
Yeah.
Or like if you've been a communications person before, anyone in the office has a view about what you've said because they have written words before.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But cycling,
Yeah.
most people have kind of don't do it anymore. They might have learned as a kid and had fun and then moved on with their lives. But if you continue to cycle and you're a bit of a cyclist, then you're going to have an outsized view about what's going on the track.
Because if you're like into shooting, for instance,
that's
you're often not invited to parties for a start.
Yeah, that's right. Or you're keeping it to yourself.
And you own a lot of trench coats.
Anyway, shout out to those guys, by the way, the cyclists.
Can we talk about the canoe sprint? I'm sort of all over the place. I've no pattern to this, but
people are waiting for this.
Tokyo 2020 Olympic champions Tom Green and Jean van der Westhuizen,
like Hust, RIP,
have bypassed the canoe sprint quarterfinals with a strong and steady performance in the men's K2 500 meter heats.
Okay, K2 is it?
That's in the K2.
Okay.
So Tokyo 2020 Olympic champions. So there are still golds available for Australia here, Pezza.
Interesting.
I'm thinking about touching God here, that being 18.
Wow.
Gold medals.
Yep.
Even a listener responsible Charlie.
Just stay clear of
it's a tough day.
The verb touching.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, reaching.
Yeah.
So they did well in their heat, straight to the semi-finals, and they're good to go.
All right.
They're looking to go back to back.
Semi-final chat, week 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and the boys were really happy with their run.
Yeah, right.
In the men's K4 500 metres, that's Riley Fitzsimmons, Pierre van der Westhuizen, Jackson Collins, and Noah Havard went from the heats to the quarterfinals when they sent an Olympic best time of 1 minute 19:39. In doing so, the K4 500 crew advanced to the semi-finals on Thursday. And avoided the chaos of the photo finish for second to fourth between NZ, Denmark, and Canada. NZ also pretty good sitting down, rolling backwards in the drink there. NZ got some pretty good medals. So again, Anzac spirit. I'm happy to combine the Anzacs together here. I think we need it. I think we need it in this final week.
But not allies?
No. That's. If you are a Kiwi listening or watching to this, please get in touch and let us know how you feel about joining forces here for the final week.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of joined forces tables. I've seen AUKUS. I've seen democracy.
Yeah, democracy manifest.
Yeah.
Chinese meals forever. Jess Hull, Pezza, on the track.
This is a hope as well.
A big chance for a track medal.
Yeah.
So Jess Hull cruised her 1,500 metre heat. She finished second, just about dead heat in first. Top 6 go through the semis. Looked like a good run. We'd love to know more about the taper of the run because obviously she's broken a world record, obviously, for the 2,000 metres. Not an event run in the Olympic Games, but has the 5th fastest all-time 1,500 metres time. So this is a real chance. Anyway, she goes straight through the semi-finals. A bit of chaos in the washing machine there. Fuck me, they run close together. There must be limbs and legs akimbo everywhere.
Oh yeah, you don't want to be tripping anyone up, or being tripped.
Semis are in 2 days' time. But did you watch Jess's run?
I didn't watch the run, but I know that we all in the nation we always hold a candle to anyone who can get it done on land.
Yes,
and
we
on
do.
foot.
Yes, we do.
And because those kinds of medals these days seem to be few and far between for an Australian expectation. So Jess, we're holding a candle for Jess. I understand there are some other good runners there as well. But I did note after the run, so I don't really watch the run, I sort of look for the words after.
Yeah.
She said she just wanted to run a clean round and stay out of trouble.
Yes.
She said, I just want to stay on the shoulder of the leader, not in the washing machine of the pack.
Right.
So it's a strong Olympic message and a strong message for life, I would have thought.
Mm-hmm. When you watch those races, because I don't know how many athletes are in the race, it might be like 12 in the race, and they're running so close together. It's like if you've been to like Southeast Asia and like or on the road somewhere, and there's so many cars close together, and sort of like this controlled chaos where no one's touching anyone, but it must happen all the time. So you see people stacked all the time on the track, don't you? But anyway, yeah, clean run, good for her. Semi-finals, 2 days time. Expecting final, expecting medal.
Oh, I expect a medal out of it.
Yep,
at least.
Okay, good. Beach volleyball. The Tokyo silver medalists, our Aussie girls, Taliqua Clancy and is it Mariev? Atacho Del Sola?
We just say Clancy and Del Sola.
They'll have the opportunity to
Well, that's what Fox Sports did.
Oh, really? Yeah, shocked me.
I think they got the name first.
They are into the semi-finals and they'll play either Latvia or Brazil. Bit of a talk about this being a redemption Olympics for the two girls.
Okay, good.
Silver in Tokyo. They've got themselves into a semi-final now. They beat the Swiss pairing in 3 sets. They won the first set, won the third set.
Comfortable enough in the third.
Yeah, under lights in front of the Eiffel Tower. Looks fantastic.
And the thing about beach volleyball is that while it's not the drink, it's drink adjacent.
It is drink adjacent, isn't it? Yeah.
just like the skateboarding, which is just an empty.
I've seen highlights of every single one of the girls' games, but if they make a gold medal playoff, that's when I'll really start watching. I'm committed enough to watch one gold medal game involving the two girls for Australia.
That's big, and that's all they could hope for. It's a lot of Australian Olympic athletes could hope for.
I think it would mean a lot to them.
Yeah,
knowing that. Yeah,
I know one of the. I can't right now recall which one it is, Clancy or Del Sola. I know one of them's from Manly, so that'll make sense.
Yes.
And the other one is from 6 hours away in the country.
Really?
Yeah. So I used to drive 6 hours. This is what the comm said anyway. 6 hours to training. So again, as Australian athletes magnetised by the drink, and I'm referring to bodies of water. By the way, we say this.
Well,
we've all been magnetised by the drink. At
both can
times.
be true.
Yeah.
I was wondering why the Swiss have a good beach volleyball pairing. The beaches in Switzerland. Is there?
How often do we see that in swimming as well, though?
Yeah.
Fucking cold in England. What's doing?
Yeah, that's true.
Why are you swimming?
That's true. Let's talk about the Boomers.
Yeah, are we ready for this?
Up by 24 points in the first half, lost by 5 in OT, 95-90. So Paddy Mills hit a clutch 2 off balance to tie it up with 1 second
Over
left.
Jokic.
Yep, mate. Some of the shots under pressure that he hit in this game was unbelievable. Now,
he's a flag bearer and a national treasure.
He is a national treasure. I'm just you look at them and you're thinking that's a bad shot. That's a bad shot. That's it. The ball movement's not good enough where they're getting open shots. But some of it wasn't just the final shot that he hit to level up at 82 apiece to send it to OT. There was so many moments in each quarter where he was jacking up unbelievable. Layups, offhanded, one-handed, 2-pointers, 3-pointers. It was genuinely a great performance from him.
But possibly his last in green and gold.
You would suggest so. How old is he? I wonder.
36. I think.
36. Okay, yeah. Well, but when you're up by 24 points, that is going to be one of the hardest watches to then see your team go down in OT. Now they play against the USA in the semi-final, Serbia. So thanks for coming, boys. But, it's sort of 2 bites of the cherry, don't you, if you get to the semi-finals with a bronze medal playoff available after losing to the US, inevitably. But that fucking hurts, man.
Yeah, and Serbia goes into the game favourites. Holes in the Boomers' setup have been exposed several times. So, seen from afar, a 5-point win to Serbia doesn't seem that unlikely. It's just that when you are playing champagne ball and you're up by 24 points and you are the vanquished team in the biggest comeback in Olympic basketball history.
Damn it.
that's when you start to ask whose heads are going to roll.
Yeah.
I need head.
Yeah.
And so, Brian Gorgian, I'm sorry. I know you've been a wonderful servant, but a head's got to roll here. I've exhaled too many times.
Need your head.
Yeah. And yeah, for Paddy's last game in green and gold, obviously he leaves us with wonderful memories. He's somebody that when you look at him, like he leaves you feeling nothing but like inspired and happy and proud.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously a huge shout out to Paddy Mills. But yeah, when you're up, I mean, look,
it happens.
It seems like being up by 24 is probably a bit of an aberration. They probably were like Gorgian said it's the best Boomers basketball I've ever seen in 16 years. That period of play, and then obviously it regressed back to the mean.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, now
it's a missed opportunity.
What we understand is one of the injuries. So that's like a mathematic truth, right? That generally you regress back to the mean, whether you've been shithouse or excellent or whatever. But the problem with this, the contradiction with this, is that it's also an ironclad law of Australian sport that if you hit a certain standard, then that becomes the standard that we expect forever.
That's right.
You know, view the cricket team, view the rugby union. Yeah. You know, the sport can't succeed again until you reach that bar again and stay there.
Socceroos, I'd say the same.
Socceroos, exactly.
Matildas, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, like that's all well and good that Brian Gorgian's just witnessed the greatest piece of Boomers play.
That's all well and good.
That's all well and good. It doesn't serve me in any way. It's like, oh, that's nice. That was nice for sort of 12 minutes.
It's what losing teams say. Now, I'm not saying about the Boomers, but like you'll often hear that about the West Tigers in rugby league. They were good for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, it's something to cling on to. But this is sheep stations. This is the Olympics. We're not talking about building for something.
Yeah.
This was the building we were in. We're at the top floor.
And no one's saying like the better team lost. No one's saying that. The better team won the game. That's the truth.
It's just the unique solitary pain of being up by 24 points and from that position being slowly choked to death.
And at one point we're 6 points down in the final quarter. Yeah. So there was more than it was like a 30-point turnaround. They did enough time
just about, yeah.
Anyway, the Opals are playing also Serbia tonight at 7 p.m. And the winner of that, I think, is going to play the US in the semis, which is going to hurt. But also, sorry.
On Boomers still?
Go. Yep.
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank whomever it was that signed us up to Jack McVeigh's newsletter. Gratefully received. And that was to boysactually@gmail.com. So thanks for signing us up. Real surprised getting that newsletter.
Yeah.
And now we can engage in the pursuit of excellence through basketball, which is Jack's stated aim of the newsletter.
So Opal's our final chance in the basketball. Obviously, they are a higher ranked team in world basketball than the Boomers. Hopefully it goes well for them tonight. Also, the women's golf starts tonight, speaking of higher ranked athletes. So Minjee Lee and Hannah Green are ranked 13th and 6th in the world, respectively. Hannah's won 2 events on the LPGA this year, and Minjee Lee has won 2 majors in the last 3 years. So, these are golfers as well, significantly higher ranked in the world than Jason Day and Min Woo Lee.
Okay.
So, medal opportunity there for the girls. Anyway, that starts tonight as well. So, Opals and the golf be starting around about the same time. Stingers, Pezza.
Okay.
Stingers. They beat Greece 9-6 in their quarterfinal. They play
comfortably.
They're going to play the USA, who beat Hungary 5-4 in the other semi-final. So, the first time they made a semi since London 2012. The semi-final will be on Thursday. Everything's going perfectly to plan for the Stingers so far. They've won every match in Paris after COVID swept through the camp on the eve of the games, one might remember. And also, Sydney 2000, I think it was a last-second goal.
It was.
Against the US for the gold medal.
In front of John Howard at Ryde Pool.
Fuck yeah. So Stingers has become, as Tom Deason was saying in the paper this morning, this has become one of the stories of the Olympics of Stingers, and I think the nation's going to get behind them, especially in this second week where things are just slowing down a little bit. Stingers, sharks in the drink. Athletes in the drink.
Yeah, we're definitely learning something. Comfortable as well. About time we had a comfortable win in the drink when the balls are involved.
Yes.
Anyway.
In the surfing, we mentioned yesterday, Jack Robinson, he took silver behind Tahitian Caldy Vast.
Yeah, local.
Who was representing France. A local champion who knows the world's scariest wave like the back of his hand. Only 3 waves were ridden in 35 minutes.
Yeah. No, this is...
So it was more horizon stuff.
Well, I mean, they don't call Jackie Robinson the Vortex Shaman for nothing. He does know how to find a wave, but he is against the local who first rode... Who rode the infamous break at age 8.
Right.
So, fair to say local conditions.
He's a whisperer.
Yeah, and he's his own whisperer.
Tahitian whisperer.
So, the end score was 17.67 to 7.83. And Vast went like 9.5 and 8.17. Robinson got a 7.83 from the first, but the Vortex Shaman couldn't uncover the 9.84 he needed.
Right.
Fair to say that the track in Tahiti flattened out.
It did flatten out.
It gets flat,
Yeah.
and it was hard for the shaman to find a breakthrough. And that's what happens at any danger of a flat track.
Also fair to say that the exact same thing happened in reverse in the semi-finals to get him into the...
And Gabriel gets his bronze. He gets his bronze.
That's good.
Fair play to him. But
And he obviously won the Olympics anyway with the photo.
Exactly. Yeah, he gets a social and a bronze. It's not a bad haul for Gabriel Medina there. But yeah, Jack couldn't find that wave. That's just what happens. He needed a 9.84, so he needed pretty decent swell.
Yeah.
Go along there.
Yeah. You mentioned saying with the drink, sailing, Matty Wern.
Oh, just quickly on the surfing. Hugh at Queenscliff wrote in, just wrote, lads, enjoying your dive into the world of green rooms and chandelier lips. Were you aware that the name the Vortex Shaman's son is the name of the Vortex Shaman's son is Zen?
Yes, we did know that. Yeah.
Also, you referenced the cutback on the top of the wave. You mean a vertical snap, not a cutback. Here to help. Cheers, Hugh at Queenscliff. It's exactly what we want.
And what I meant to say was, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, we asked for all this feedback and then we get offended when it comes in.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. Matty Wern,
spacing out the golds though.
There's not a sniff of a breeze in Marseille.
Yeah.
Which I'd say would suit him because he's winning at the moment.
Well,
so
plenty of heat, flat track.
Call it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any danger for a breath? A zephyr. I'll take a zephyr.
Does he if they don't even get on the reserve day, does he just take gold as a first qualifier?
Well, he fucking should.
Oh, you don't know the answer to that?
No, I do. I'm just being coy about it. Sort of helps in presenting information. Yeah. First of all, mate, that's none of your fucking business. What I do and don't know, okay?
I prefer not to talk about that and my views on that.
Hey, in the diving, Ellie Cole finished 7th on debut for the Olympics in the women's 10-metre platform final. Melissa Wu finished 11th in her 5th straight Olympic final, which is all well and good, but no hardware being brought home. Curtis Matthews is through to the final on Olympic debut, finishing 8th in the men's 3-metre springboard preliminaries. Pez, before we speak to our guest, which I didn't even say at the top of the show, Matty Thompson's on the show.
Yeah.
Who gave us so many great moments in the call with John and Ian. In the pool there. So speaking to him in a moment's time. But this show is brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. Use the code FAST for 25% off your order. Hey, we've been mentioning about the surfing there. And thanks to our friends at Smith Optics, they've thrown open the code FAST.
Yep.
For the lifestyle range. We've been talking about Pez has been wearing the East Bank the last few days. That's the style that Molly Picklum has been wearing.
Yes.
You know what? Just go to their website. Just stop what you're doing and just go to the website because you listen to this show every day. You watch the show every day and you're probably wondering, what on earth is Smith Optics?
Well,
okay. Just go to the website, smithopticsaustralia.com.
Chatting with the team at Smith Optics, as I do and as is my want, there was a bump in sales once we suggested that they could be helpful for stalking. Now...
It's always funny what Charlie laughs at.
Yeah, and they went on to say that the team went on to say they're hoping the usage of them to avoid jury duty yesterday might have the same result. Now, message in from Liam, a fan of the show, specifically on Smith Optics. Don't just relax. Okay, I know we're walking on. We're on a tightrope this entire show.
I'm on eggshells.
14-year-olds won gold. Yeah. We're talking about stalking and jury duty.
Don't wear these to the skate park. Don't do that.
That is not what we're suggesting.
Not what we're suggesting.
They are not glasses to head to the skate park to watch kids do tricks. No, Liam says, hey, boys, as the Aussies love being in the drink, and in relation to Higgins saying yesterday that if the Aussies were wearing Smith Optics in the pool, there would have been Olympic records.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Smith Optics creating swimming goggles?
Yep.
Our Golden Girls would be even more fast, Capitals.
Yes.
And the blokes might have actually showed up if they had Smith Optics goggles. Cheers, Liam. So
Liam's spot on.
I know that the team at Smith Optics are an agile team.
Well, they can do whatever they want.
They're just about creating the best optical wear.
Yes,
that
right,
is.
right.
So use the code FAST for 25% off all of that stuff that they've got there.
Do you want to set up Matt Thompson or should we just throw to him?
Let's try. Yeah, hey, voice of the swimming, voice of the drink for Australia, Matty Thompson. We talked to him last night on an unstable Wi-Fi connection in France, but here's Matty Thompson. Well, the Olympics is basically about the drink. We've established that, and I mean the water, that is. Though one man who could be afforded a drink after a very, very heavy swimming program is the voice of swimming in Australia, in your homes for the last week or so, calling home all the golds that we'll remember forever and start speaking about for the next week as well during the Olympics. It's Matt Thompson joining us on Morning After Paris. Tomo, thanks for joining us.
It's great to be with you, and this is undoubtedly the pinnacle of my career, talking to you too.
It's incredible how many people say that really sincerely, and ours
long
too.
time listener, first time caller. That's what they say.
No, we do appreciate you coming on, Tomo. Now that the swimming program is over, can you walk us through the experience from your perspective? You know, what is it like as a caller? You've done Origins, you've done grand finals, you've got a huge body of work before a lot of people came to know you through your Channel 9 work. Where does swimming rank for you? What is it like to be the voice of the nation when we're in the drink winning golds?
Well, I didn't really think of it that way, so you're making me feel a little nervous. And I'm probably glad I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, like, it's an interesting question, actually, because when I arrived at that arena for the first day, you are immediately hit by the sense of just how big this whole thing is. Like, it's a truly global event, and how we look at the Olympics in Australia, well, every other country in the world looks at it the same way. So there's people in the media area from far removed countries that you never heard of that don't really have a reputation in swimming, but because it's the Olympics. So that hits you in the face pretty hard. I wish they would have fixed their Wi-Fi in Paris before the Olympics. But yeah, look, it's next level. There's no doubt about it. And you grow up as a sports fan watching Australia win gold at the Olympics, and to be able to be there to see it firsthand is just a real pinch me moment, you know?
Obviously there was talk about how great the girls were in the pool these Olympics, but what about the team? What about the mum and dad team of Rooney, Thorpe, and Thompson? And some of the great iconic lines as well, Tomo. Like, obviously helps when your team wins all the time, but these are going to be calls heard through the halls of history. Some of these calls from you in particular: Australia's warrior wins again. The double is complete. They are our untouchables. The dream has come true. I'm getting fired up just thinking about it, man. I'm about to go for a swim. What's been your favorite call of those throughout these games?
Oh, goodness. The night where Kaylee won and then McAvoy won and then Marchand won, like back to back was just next level, you know. That was actually the only night I bought my wife tickets to go to the swimming, by the way. It cost me about 800 Australian, but I think she got a value for money. But it was one of those sort of breathtaking moments. I was really nervous. I don't know if I was nervous. I was kind of like, expectation kind of overtook me. And I've never been like that at the footy before. And as you would have seen from Gian and Thorpe's reaction, I mean, Thorpe's Joe Cool, but he was going on like he was barracking for McAvoy and Gian was squealing. I don't know what that noise was, but anyway, it sounded good. But that was them being really raw. Like, they're Olympians and they understood what was going on. Like, that's hard to beat. They're all memorable moments. Like, there's probably none that stands out the most, but that little 20-minute window was just huge in the context of Australian sport.
Tomo, you know, you're a play-by-play caller, and you're the announcer for the swimming as well, calling all the action with the color commentators next to you. Many have suggested that perhaps you were buoyed by the presence of Ian Thorpe next to you and not Joey and Phil Gould. And that's not me. That's not me suggesting that. But did Thorpe and Gian Rooney's presence, lift your commentary and add a little bit of panache rather than just a round by round NRL game?
Well, I've got to say, and I know you're only being flippant there, but man, I always want to do my best job for my co-commentators. I mean, look at whatever you think about Gus and Joey or whatever, like they're gurus of the game, and I just want to do my best job for them because they're there because they're the best at what they do. So that's always my attitude towards that. But certainly when you've got a champion like Thorpe there, who has just an amazing analytical mind, it's my job to try and make sure I get the best out of that. And Gian, honestly, she's honestly one of the best broadcasters I've ever worked with. Like she could probably call the swimming. She's so good. She's just an absolute star. So we did the World Short Course Champs firstly a couple of years ago. Then we did the World Champs in Fukuoka. Then we did the trials in the lead up, and those three hitouts were ideal preparation for the Olympics. So it was no surprise to me that we kind of all hit the ground running. But they are absolutely brilliant at what they do, and he's a bit of a swimming Rain Man. Like he sees things underwater that no one could even recognise. I just go, what? And you guys have picked that up too. Like that's just who he is. Like he's lived and breathed this. So he'd be the highest paid NRL coach in the game. Like he's such a great analyst.
Yeah. Can you give us a sense of occasion, Tomo, when Leon Marchand is in the pool? Like I know, like first of all, like the arena is a rugby stadium, but this was a debutante ball of a Olympic superstar. Like he's won 4 gold medals. It's one of the all-time great meets for any swimmer anywhere. But like, can you give us a sense of the occasion when he comes out and then when he swims in the pool?
Well, I was conscious of it because I know that we're pretty parochial with Australia at the Olympics, but it is a global event, and I wanted to make sure that we cover that element because, like, it's one of the great all-time sporting performances for him to build an Olympics. And the 2 individual medleys, he was always going to win, but the other 2 is to do the breaststroke and the butterfly and have to swim them on the same night. It's mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. The crowd were. Like they were unbelievable with him, and the expectation of him about to walk out on the pool deck, and when he got there, like in between strokes, when he was bobbing up above the water, like they were chanting in time so he could hear them. And he said at a media event yesterday, I don't know if it was a presser or whatever, but he actually heard the volume of the crowd underwater, which he's never heard before. So they just wrap themselves around him, and he's just the absolute star of the games. Like he's a generational swimmer, and Phelps was there in Fukuoka when he broke his world record and gave him a standing ovation. So that's all you really need to know. He's just an absolute god.
Tomo, you're right. Like I was being flippant earlier, asking about Gus, Joey, and Thorpe. But just a funny couple of names to put in the same sentence, really. And those guys are all legends in their own right.
I wouldn't like to see Gus and his budgie smugglers. I might ask him to come into the footy next week when I get back, and maybe in the Thorpe speed suit.
That'd be. Well, that's somebody's fantasy anyway. Tomo. Like we don't speak to a whole lot of commentators, and it strikes me that commentators, most of them anyway, take the position of only really being heard when they're calling the game and distancing themselves from opinion and whatnot. But it strikes me that like commentary is this pursuit that because so many punters hear it so often, they feel that it's one of the easiest things to do of all time. And very, very easy to pass judgment on. And that so many commentators seem to live in the shadow, really, of legends who we grew up with as children. I'm not just referring to rugby league. There's a lot of people listening who are Aussie rules natives and might say the same about Dennis Cometti, or people in athletics might say it about Bruce McAvaney or whatnot. Of course, with league, Rabbits is the king. What is it like to be part of the next generation, I suppose, of people whose voices are into the lounge rooms and phones and devices of people, and when so many think that commentary is this easy thing to do and easy to pass judgment on? I guess in another way, like Does people's judgment matter to you? Do trolls get to you?
Well, there's no shortage of them, but there's no doubt about that. But I just block it. I try to block it out. I mean, I've learned that you rarely, as a contributor to social media, like people rarely log on to try and give you a rap. They generally log on to try and bag you, and they're generally people that don't have a photo attached to their real name. So that's the one thing to look at. She said to me, don't ever listen to criticism from people you wouldn't ask for advice. And I thought that was a very good bit of advice going forward, not just for me, but for anyone in that environment. But it's par for the course, you know. People are going to bag you, but I chose to be in the public eye, and it's kind of part and parcel. With what you made a good comment earlier about the commentators sort of puts themselves in that neutral position, and I firmly believe that is the role of a commentator. Like in anything, I mean, we have the best experts in the respective sports next to me. No one gives a shit what I think. Like I don't know anything. So, and I really when you watch commentary from around the world and people, some play-by-play blokes trying to tell you what's going on in the game or whatever, I just think, I might just shut up. Like, it's not your job. Instead of you saying that, get the other guys to come in and tell you what they think. And so that's one of my basic fundamentals. Like and I hope that comes across, because I don't, you know, really, compared to these blokes, I know nothing about anything I'm talking about. So, particularly here at the Olympics, you know, you got Thorpe and Gian and stuff. Like, it's not my job to tell people what I think. And I think that should be a fundamental pillar for anyone who wants to come through and call sport.
Finally, Tomo, this is the last question, but we can't have you on without calling on your Sydney grade cricket, or Sydney Test cricket experience. I mean, you are a very committed and active member of the Penrith Cricket Club community. My understanding is that on top of having played grade cricket with Penrith and winning a Green Shield with Penrith, you coached a Penrith Green Shield team to a premiership in the late 90s, I believe. And so where does that rank in relation to calling Arnie home a couple of days ago, as far as the sporting Mount Rushmore for Matt Thompson's concerned?
It'd be quite second, no doubt. Yeah, be quite second. You've done your research there. My son plays for Penrith now. He's been batting in 5th grade, so we've come full circle. I would have played against you, I reckon, Pez, probably back in the day.
Well, this is a great opportunity for me, and it's true to say I don't remember you.
I definitely played against you, Tomo. I definitely played against you.
I don't remember you either.
It's just 3 blokes saying none of us remembered each other. That is a Sydney cricket chat.
Did either of us do anything of significance?
Well, he goes, do you remember playing against Tomo? Did he do anything?
I don't remember what happened in the game. I remember playing against you though. And then shortly after we started the podcast about grade cricket. So
right. Well, you got me well towards the back end of my illustrious grade career, where really no one remembers anything about what I did. So it's probably not worth talking about, to be completely honest.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, our experience has been that, like, there was a lot of gods of grade cricket when we were going around, and then when you start interviewing professional players, they feel the same way about them. You know, the fact is that nobody's anybody, and about 3 people have made it in Australian sport, and we just kind
That's right. Yeah. Hey, so I would consider myself probably in the bottom 5% of, in terms of status of guests you've had on this illustrious podcast, and I'm a big fan of your work. So you've been amongst the inner sanctum of the Indian sort of cricket community, which I find quite fascinating. Who are the Indian blokes you love talking to the most? I find this really interesting.
I suppose we can speak freely because the Indians aren't watching us on the Olympics because they're not in it and cricket's not in it. No. We're not in the inner sanctum of Indian players in the way, and we're not in the inner sanctum of anybody, I mean, let's remember, we played 2s and 3s, but but it's a harder nut to crack, really. I mean, the closest we've come to talking to players was actually in America, where Virat actually like swung out of the line of players to go up to Higgins and whisper something into his ear that we've committed never will be said in public. So we know that a lot of the Indian guys are aware of our work, but because they're so famous, they don't need to promote cricket in India like the way anybody else does in other nations. So when you say like, oh, if you come onto our podcast, lots of people will listen and it will help grow the game. You know, in India, that's like, the game doesn't need help growing, brother, especially with a couple of white guys who played twos, you know? So, yeah.
So Virat Kohli walked out of the team line and came over and spoke to you two. I mean, you may as well just retire.
It's a pretty good dinner story. Like that, Tomo. When you come back home, we'll share a beer and I'll tell you what happened. But it will not be repeated on this podcast.
I'd love to.
But first we'll discuss grades 3 to 5 in Sydney grade cricket in the early 2000s for the first 4 hours. Anyway,
Fantastic.
people are listening to this conversation. Matt Thompson, thanks so much for your call of the swimming. Your voice will echo in the halls of history that Higgins described earlier, and they are long and illustrious halls. Mate, thank you for joining our show. You're definitely not in the bottom 5%, but it's our privilege, and I hope you get a good break now. Are you doing any other Olympics, or are you done?
Yes, I am. Yeah, no, I've got. We don't know where the two men's and women's 10K is going to be, but I'm calling it regardless. It's either going to be in the Sen, which I think is unlikely, given the majority of the triathlon fields come down and now find themselves in emergency. So the alternative is I think they're going to move out to the rowing centre. And I actually, so we've got a weightlifter called Eileen Sikamatana who used to compete for Fiji, now competes for Australia, and is a gold medal chance. So I'm taking on Darryl Eastlake's role and calling a bit of weightlifting.
Yes, that's awesome. All right, we'll be following that.
Well, and just think, Tom, had you actually played Test cricket instead of Sydney Test cricket, you could have been doing the diving. So, you know, it's...
Listen, can we leave Mark Taylor alone? He's a national icon.
Hey, we like him.
Mate, we like agree. Him. We back Tubby Deluxe. That you're talking to the viewers there, right? And the rest of the public who tunes into the show. We've been backing Tubby Deluxe. What could the nation want anything more than Mark Taylor saying plenty of pressure on these Germans? You know, like that is gold tier broadcasting for mine.
I heard him say the other day something along the lines of they're not executing as well as they might like. It's like when you're opening the batting and you can't quite find the middle. You've just got to dig in.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just thought, mate, that's just peak commentary.
Cricket metaphor for life, please. And I hear they're going to announce Matthew Mitchum is going to commentate in LA 28 in the cricket, but that's a separate that hasn't been announced yet. I'll let you go, Tomo.
Thanks, guys. Good to chat.
Thanks
sorry
for
about the
joining us.
Wi-Fi here in Paris.
Thank you very much to Matt Thompson. Hey, Pezza, this show is brought to you by NordVPN.
Yeah.
You can use the exclusive code nordvpn.com/TGC. 30-day money back guarantee. The link is in the episode description. What do you want today? Sport and entertainment, traveling, shopping and saving money, cybersecurity and privacy.
Give us sport and entertainment. Not to be confused with Sport and Entertainment Network, SEN.
That's true. Okay. With NordVPN, you can safely access your favorite streams and other content from home, no matter where you go. Easily switch your virtual location to access apps and websites in other countries. Get access to social media and other services not available due to censorship. That's nordvpn.com/TGC. You sign up. It's risk-free. 30-day money-back guarantee. All these advantages here. Easily switch your virtual location to access apps and websites in other countries. Okay? Censorship issues, no more. nordvpn.com/TGC. Pezza, long show, and I apologize for that. International news.
Let's get to the globe.
Get into the globe. Have you seen the Paraguayan swimmer kicked out of the village?
No.
For creating an inappropriate atmosphere?
Oh.
Says Luana Alonso, in an Instagram story posted overnight, claimed that she was never removed or expelled from the accommodation and accused the media of sharing false information. She said this, I don't want to give any comment, but I will not allow lies to affect me, the 20-year-old wrote in Spanish over a picture of a hand holding a cup of coffee over a balcony in a sunrise. Alonso became the centre of a media storm, this is via the SMH by the way, over the weekend when it emerged Paraguay had asked her to leave the village after she announced her sudden retirement from professional swimming. She had failed to qualify in her first round of heats in Paris. It's official, I'm retiring from swimming. Thank you all for your support. Apologies to Paraguay. I can only say thanks. She wrote on Instagram. Paraguayan Olympic officials claimed that once Alonso requested to retire from the sport via email, she was no longer entitled to remain at the village. That request was granted, Paraguay's chef de mission Larissa Schrafer told Paraguayan radio over the weekend. From that moment that she requested to remain out, she is no longer part of the delegation. But instead of abandoning the village immediately, Alonso continued to stay at the accommodation while she visited luxury designer stores and dined out at restaurants. But yeah, she's created an inappropriate atmosphere.
Who among us hasn't participated in an athletic event at school in order to get a day off when you go to the regionals or something?
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you go to the inter-school like carnivals, your association carnival. I did like kids at my school. I went to a music school.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could like toss a discus.
Yep.
But I had basic level of coordination, or a javelin.
Yep.
Zero arm on me, relative.
Sure.
But and I was bundled out in the first heats. Bundled out.
Yeah.
To age 14 actually.
Yeah.
But day off school. So I think play on.
I mean, same thing here is like who hasn't gone to kick-ons and there's just been someone there that I don't know how they got there. I mean, that's basically the same thing as this. I mean, she's having kick-ons at the Olympic Village, creating a bit of an atmosphere where she's trying to kick on, and no one wants to kick on with her because people are competing.
Well, I'm actually relieved because when you first started talking about this and there was a picture of her holding coffee over a balcony, I thought she was just pouring boiling hot coffee on people, you know?
Parisian coffee at best.
Well, yeah, like third degree burns to our athletes. Get her out of there.
There's also news this morning that a Greek athlete has tested positive for banned substances at Paris 2024.
Okay.
No idea who the athlete is. Not sure which category.
Everybody. I mean, look, everyone at the start line will be on something.
And what you need to understand is...
And the wider can't keep up with this.
Hey, Adam Peaty, England's famous breaststroker, has told The Telegraph overnight that athletes are finding worms in their fish.
Yep.
I like my fish and people are finding worms in the fish, Peaty told the newspaper.
Sorry.
I like my fish and people are finding worms in the fish.
Yes, Adam Beatty says there's worms in the fish. He said, quote, there's worms in the fish.
It's just not good enough. The standard we're looking at the best of the best in the world and we're feeding them not the best. We need to give the best we possibly can, Petey said. Tokyo, the food was incredible. Rio was incredible.
Yeah.
But this time around, there wasn't enough protein options. Long queues, waiting 30 minutes for food because there's no queuing system. Can't be having that. I think Paris is having a fucking great Olympic Games, if I'm honest. Now, conditions in the village, absolute dog shit. You know, not my issue.
And I like where we've kicked off the news out of the international component of the Olympics. Yes, Gabby Thomas got took out the women's 200, 21.83. All good. Couldn't touch Flojo. And
200 is better than the 100 for me to watch.
Yeah, sure. And she won that. And Cole Hocker won the 1500, stunned the duopoly of Team GB's Josh Kerr and Norway's Jacob Ingebrigtsen. But the one I was looking at, he goes, is that the smoking ban at the Olympics, at the Paris Olympics, is actually hurting British golfer Charlie Hull.
Yeah.
So Paris 2024 organisers have stipulated all Olympic venues are non-smoking. And in this context, Hull likes a bunger.
Yeah, she does. She
likes a bunger in her room.
Yep.
She likes it on the course.
Yep.
She says, yeah, it relaxes me a little bit.
Yep.
She likes a dart.
Yep.
So in this context, Hull's treated no differently to everybody else inside and outside the ropes. She's I don't think she's totally satisfied by the rule, and she says that she was asked, do you think it'll affect you? She said, I think it will.
Yeah. Well, she's got to get in the vapes. That's actually what the solution is. She's got to get in the vapes on the course.
E-cigarettes permitted?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Is a vape an e-cigarette?
Oh, mate, talking to the wrong bloke there.
Because e-cigarettes used to be like a different thing. But anyway, yeah.
Gmail.com.
Yeah, it's all there.
That's why we set this up to stipulate the
differences. I read this as well about Charlie Hull. Yeah, she is upset.
Oh yeah.
No darts. No darts.
Thought I could go in and have a bunger. Well, good luck to her.
Anything else international?
No, it was just those ones and the 200 and the 1500.
Just the actual amazing events that happened overnight, including an absolute ball over in the 1500.
Your mate Stormtone, Cole Hocker. Yeah, couldn't you believe it? Boys, actually, just quickly, here goes.
Sure.
Sam writes in, it's titled Pole Vault Joke, because we asked yesterday about what poles are allowed to use.
Yes,
so I've had some responses. Sam says, boys, all-time favourite joke from Billy Connolly. I was walking through the Olympic Village and saw a guy with a 4-metre stick. I asked, are you a pole vaulter? He said, no, I'm German. And how'd you know my name's Volta?
Probably the way he did it.
Jude, just again in response to the pole vault thing, titles his email or her pole vault poll. Not sure about pole vault, but in javelin you can BYO, but it just goes into a pool of javs and any competitor can use it. It's like keys. Cameron Jones. Boys, actually, I've got an exciting historical tidbit for you, or titbit. Okay. You mentioned at the start of the last pod, Naomi Fox jumping up and down on the podium, quote, waving her hands like one of those inflatable things outside second-hand car dealerships. Yes. It's a shameful, wacky, wavy, inflatable tube guy, or tube man for short, to be relegated to such a lowly member of society. Tube man was originally a feature, nay, the highlight of the 1996 Atlanta Olympic opening ceremony, which is an exciting historical link alone. But for the Fox family, it's a callback to Olympics where her mother won bronze. Thought you ought to know. So perhaps when Naomi was doing that, she was actually calling back to the Atlanta Olympics, not second-hand car dealership attention.
Both can be true.
Initiatives. Both could be true. She could be sponsored by a second-hand car dealership. Finally.
Speaking of the pole vault, I had one from Will Chalmers, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Who wrote in, he said, not much of a boys, actually, but a great reward of a bonus system. It's reported that Mondo Duplantis, he was the Swedish high jumper who smashed the world record by 1 centimetre.
By 1 centimetre.
But we did the whole thing. He gets a 100K bonus every time he breaks the world record, but only one payment per meet. He's been beating it by 1 centimetre each time. Started at 2 metres 17 and stopping there to maximise his bonus. He's done it 9 times since 2020.
Genius.
If that's true, Will, that is brilliant.
That is genius.
How high can he go?
He's in practice. He's going at 260. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Can't remember what the heights were. James, just to finish off, he goes,
Yes.
boys, actually, I'd just like to point out that whilst the Fox sisters may have plied their trade on the rivers of the Nepean, and credit should be given to the great city of Penrith for the success, it is also a win for the even less accredited suburb of Blaxland, home of the Lapston Hotel and the only McDonald's in the Blue Mountains, and the oldest surviving stone bridge on the Australian mainland. It is also the home of Glenbrook Blaxland Cricket Club, which also produced one Patrick Cummins, brackets for whom credit also goes to Penrith. I just think it's time Blaxland gets its fair desserts. I, for one, indulged too much in the McDonald's on the way home from footy, so I put that down as the reason they are respectively in the Olympics and the Australian cricket team, and I am not. Cheers, James.
Well, shout out Blaxland. Shout out Queensland for 9 gold medals. Shout out Australia for 13 gold medals. 14 gold medals. 14 gold medals.
Yeah.
Can they reach those amazing heights of 18 gold medals, the likes of which we've never seen in this country? 17, we've done it twice before. 16, that was Sydney 2000. What a games they were. But 18, is it available to us? Will we wake up tomorrow with 2 more gold medals? I guess we'll find out when you click on this button tomorrow. See you then. Cheers.